Sorry, guys. I'm actually a lawyer, and it looks like I'm already breaking the rules. So I apologize about that. Alex, thanks for asking me to speak. I really appreciate it. Okay. My name is Harry Tapias. I run a law firm called Logica PA. Some of you may know me from Lab Miami, where we have our home office. And a little bit about my background. I actually used to work in consulting for Accenture in Chicago, and working with big companies. And now today, I'm happy to be able to work with a lot of startup technology companies and just startup companies in general. So I'm really happy to do it not at the huge level, but kind of at the local level down here in Miami. All right, so these digital nomads. I was like, what the heck is a digital nomad? And I'm like, oh, I think a lot of them are my clients. So digital nomad, to me, it's that person that came from Europe or came from Brazil, Venezuela to start a business here in Miami, okay? And maybe they want to bring in some employees into the US also with them. But they have to follow some rules to do it right here in the US. The digital nomad could also be an American, right? That heads out to another country to do the same thing. I want to give the digital nomad a couple of rules to live by, whether they're coming into the US or heading out to another country, okay? Just 3 things. Venue and governing law. One thing I'll explain in a minute. Can I even work in this country? And lastly, intellectual property, okay? And all those 3 things come together, and at the heart of it is contracts, okay? So I don't want the digital nomad to get sued. But when he and she does, be prepared for it. Here's how we go, okay? Venue and governing law. Okay, essentially, what is that? On a contract, if you're contracting, say, with someone in London, right? They're going to hire you to do some really cool coding, right? You're going to sign a contract, and at the very bottom of that contract, you're going to say, and the venue governing law is going to be, London, UK, but you want to say Miami, Florida, if you're living in Miami, Florida, right? Because if they sue you because all of a sudden you did a bad job, you don't have to travel to UK to go fight over the dispute, okay? Something to keep in mind. The venue, where am I going to fight? Next thing, can I even work here? This is important for folks coming from Brazil, coming from Venezuela, into the US to start businesses. Can I even work here? We see a lot of people here who will have some great entrepreneurial ideas, but they're here with something called a B1 visa, which is for visitors or for just short-term meetings, okay? You want to get the right visa if you're in the US. Otherwise, when the Border Patrol looks at your bank account when you're coming in, it's like, wow, dude, you're making a lot of money. You must be a digital nomad, but you got the wrong visa. That's a problem, okay? Get off the B, get on the E visa for investors, okay? E visa for investors if you're coming from outside into the US. They'll get in trouble because you're like a digital nomad. Intellectual property, okay, so then you're creating a lot of awesome things. You have some great code, or you have just some great marketing material that you're creating, but who owns it? You're being hired. Are you allowing the person that you're going to give it to own the intellectual property, or is the person who's creating it going to be, is the digital nomad going to own his own intellectual property? A couple things to think about in your contract. If you give a contract to someone and says, I'm going to do work for you, and it's going to be a work for hire contract, well, guess what? You just gave away the rights to all the work you just created, and you cannot reuse it, okay? Something to think about. Something else to think about. If you're going abroad from the US to another country, and you have an awesome trademark here in the US, but then you're going to expose it in another country, you may want to think about registering that trademark in another country. How do you do that? Something called the Madrid Protocol. Anyone heard of that? A rule that basically says that if you register your mark in the US, you can register your mark in other countries as well. So if you're going to go expose yourself in another country, get yourself registered through the Madrid Protocol, okay? Those are the 3 things that a digital nomad needs to know. I know it's really sexy to fly around and to meet a lot of cool people, rack up a lot of points and all that good stuff, okay? But just follow those 3 things. Think about your intellectual property. Think about venue and governing law in your contracts. And last, make sure you got the right visa. Don't get kicked out. You're a digital nomad. And at the heart of it is all about how you write your contracts. Folks, I'm Harry Tapias. If I can help you in the future, I would love to. Thank you.